Steph mentioned, whenever she sees you with the two black eyes, she smiles in a way because it just exemplifies your toughness. Do you feel tough in these kinds of situations with these two black eyes?
I mean, that's what people keep telling me. Every time she sees me, she smiles and then she says, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "You don't need to be sorry. This is what it is." And when I'm playing, like, I forget about it, and then I go and look at the mirror. I'm like, "Oh shit, they're still there." So yeah, I don't really think too much about it because I don't necessarily feel them all the time.
Yeah, and you're still able to see completely fine?
Yep.
Right.
Nothing's changed.
What I love the most about this squad is that, just like O said, like, we instill confidence, the coach instills confidence that any shot you take, shoot it with confidence because we trust you and we trust that you're going to make it. And I feel like that's just really helped us down the line because no matter who comes in, no matter who steps up, we're all just really happy for each other.
She hands it off to Jackson. Jackson uses the screen, lost the handle, bounced past to Plum. Plum loses it, regains it, throws it up for grabs. Grabbed by Boston out of the sky, and we're going to have a foul here. No, a timeout taken by Indiana.
Cheap shots, bruises that don't heal overnight, 4 starters missing from the lineup. From the outside looking in, it felt like the Indiana Fever were finished. The Sparks had already beaten them 3 times this year, and with Caitlin Clark still sidelined, most fans thought Los Angeles would close the door for good.
About the resilient, nature of our team, I think one other thing that sometimes goes missed is just the character of these women. Right, especially this group that's been here, that's gone through all of this, and then the ones that we brought in with O and Shay and AP. I mean, these are women who care about winning. These are women who care about one another. These are women who sacrifice every single day.
But then, one quote flipped the entire narrative. After the game, Aaliyah Boston looked straight into the camera and said, "Next woman up." 3 words that sound simple, but if you watched what unfolded on the court, you know exactly why Fever fans can't stop talking about them. Boston didn't just say it, she lived it. And what followed wasn't just another WNBA game. It was grit. It was survival. It was the kind of win that changes a season. So today we're breaking down how the Fever turned injuries, doubt, and bad odds into their most important victory of the year, and why those 3 words might be the key to everything. But before we dive in, if you're riding with this squad, drop a Go Fever in the comments right now. Let's show the team the kind of support they've earned, because what they did on that court, that wasn't luck, that was identity. Picture this, you walk into Los Angeles knowing you're already short-handed, not just 1 player out, not even 2, but 4 guards gone. 4 voices who normally set the tone in huddles, 4 playmakers who usually decide possessions. And now, all of them in street clothes. Caitlin Clark, still sidelined with that nagging groin injury. Sophie Cunningham, out. Sydney Coulson, out. Ari McDonald, out. That's not just bad luck, that's your entire perimeter rotation ripped away in a game with playoff weight hanging over it. For most teams, that's a death sentence, especially in a matchup where history is already against you. Because this wasn't just another regular season stop in Los Angeles, this was the Sparks, a team that had already beaten Indiana 3 times this year. Every meeting had ended in disappointment, with LA walking away and Indiana stuck searching for answers. Now add the standings into the picture. Now the Fever sat in 6th place, barely holding onto a playoff spot. The Sparks lurking just 2 games behind in 9th, desperate to make a push. 1 slip from Indiana and suddenly the gap shrinks to nothing. That cushion they'd been clinging to all summer could be gone in a heartbeat. And here's the kicker. Indiana wasn't playing confident basketball heading in. They had lost 4 of their last 5 games. Doubt was starting to creep into conversations both inside and outside the locker room. Were they collapsing at the worst possible time? Did they even have enough left in the tank to finish the season strong? Everything about this game screamed trap, no depth, no momentum. A road trip into an arena where the opponent smelled blood. On paper, this looked like the kind of night where the Sparks would finally slam the door shut on Indiana's season. But games aren't played on paper, and the moment the ball went up, it became clear. The Fever weren't just here to survive, they were here to fight for their season. Before a single bucket was scored, you could already see what kind of night this was going to be. All you had to do was look at Lexi Hull's face. 2 black eyes, both of them. The kind of bruises that makeup can't hide, the kind that make people wince when they see you walking into the gym. Just days earlier, she had collided with Gabby Williams and walked away looking like a boxer who had gone 12 rounds. Most players would have taken the night off. Honestly, nobody would have blamed her.
Originally, I was like, I just need to get the swelling to go down in my forehead. So I put a patch, slept with it. The next day, woke up and I was like, okay, the bump is almost gone, but now I have 2 black eyes. So that was tragic. But I mean, it's at this point, it's unfortunately won't be able to hide it. People know, so just rolling with it.
Were you able to hide it for the photo shoots?
Makeup artist did a really, really, really good job. And people that hadn't met me before were like, oh, I can't even tell. I'm like, okay, that's good. We'll take it. But I'm hoping they'll do some editing in the post.
You don't fight through that kind of injury for a random game in August, especially when the risk of re-injury is staring you in the face, but that's not what Hull did. Instead, she suited up. She taped it, iced it, and jogged out of the tunnel ready to defend, dive for loose balls, and run through screens like her face wasn't already screaming in pain. She wasn't just playing, she was competing like nothing had happened, and here's where it hits deeper. Hull wasn't even the star of the box score that night. She didn't need to be. Her presence alone sent a message to every single player in Indiana red. If she could fight through this, so could they.
And I imagine on Tuesday you got checked for concussion, facial fracture. Just how much of a sigh of relief was it that you didn't have concussion or any kind of fracture in your face?
Yeah, honestly, when it happened, I was like relieved because I could feel myself like I was good to go. Like I felt completely with it. They did all the tests they needed to do and put ice on it right away, try to keep the swelling down. But I felt good knowing that like obviously it could have been a lot worse, and I'm grateful for the people online wanting to check on me and make sure that I'm okay. But I am okay. I've been fully checked out. So
you could see it in her body language. Every time she slid her feet to cut off a drive or threw herself into a rebound battle, it told the Fever, pain is part of the deal, but quitting isn't an option. And fans noticed. Social media lit up with clips of Hull's face, people calling her the definition of grit and praising her toughness. One tweet summed it up perfectly. Lexi Hull playing with 2 black eyes is the kind of energy this team needs to shock the league. If you're a Fever fan, you felt that too. It's not always about the points. Sometimes it's about the example. And on that night, Hull became the symbol of what this team had to be. Bruised, battered, but unshakable.
I like that we dug in. It wasn't ideal in terms of how the game was. It was ugly. We had moments where we were better than others, but we dug in. I mean, when you think about key defensive stops, key offensive rebounds, like AB's key offensive rebound there at the end, making plays, deflections that led to steals or deflections that led to bobbled passes.
And as inspiring as that was, the Fever still needed someone to carry the scoring load. And that's when a veteran guard, a player most people had counted out, stepped into the spotlight. When you talk about the Indiana Fever, the scouting report usually circles names like Aaliyah Boston or Caitlin Clark. That's where defenses lock in. That's where game plans start. But against the Sparks, all of that went out the window because the player who flipped the script was a 31-year-old veteran guard who wasn't even in the starting lineup, Odyssey Sims. Think about this. Sims wasn't supposed to be the headline. She wasn't supposed to be the one putting fear into Los Angeles defenders. At this stage of her career, most people saw her as a role player, solid minutes, maybe a couple of buckets, then back to the bench. But on this night, she turned into the heartbeat of the Fever.
Honestly, 5 straight points for you to help take the lead at the end of the game. Just what was that mindset for you in those final seconds?
I didn't shoot the ball well from the 3. I was over before I made that shot, but I didn't lose confidence. I think my teammates did a great job, along with the coaches, just constantly talking to me and weren't worried about my missed shots. It just came down to continue to play. They believe in me so much, so that helped me. And when I shot it, I was open. It was one of those do or die. It went in, and I was excited about that. Like I said, I was open from the 3, but we got the W, so it feels great.
From the moment she checked in, you could see the difference. She attacked with confidence, pushed the tempo when Indiana needed energy, and slowed it down when the Sparks threatened to grab momentum. Every possession mattered, and she played like she'd been waiting her whole life for this moment.
Just going up just like the last few years, just up and down, in the league, out the league, hardship, contract being cut, all of that stuff. Really doesn't matter. I think I'm a human definition of you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. I think every opportunity that has been given to me, I'm taking full advantage of it. These are opportunities that you can't let slip away. You never know what tomorrow brings. You never know. You be on the team one day, gone the next day. So just being able to be able to come in and just stay ready, have my energy flow to my teammates, and just be positive. Like I said, I'm with a good group.
And the timing couldn't have been better because Kelsey Mitchell, Indiana's leading scorer, was ice cold, just 5 makes on 14 attempts. Normally, that would have doomed them. Instead, Sims filled the gap and gave the Fever something nobody saw coming: stability under pressure. Her numbers, 21 points, tell part of the story, but it was when she scored that changed everything. Big threes when LA looked ready to pull away, floaters in traffic when the offense stalled, and then came the defining stretch, the final minutes of the fourth quarter. The ball kept finding her hands, and with 13 seconds left, tied game, crowd roaring, season hanging by a thread, Sims rose up for the floater she's been honing for years. The ball dropped through clean. Indiana had the lead. The Staples Center went silent. Fever players went crazy, and Sims, she just jogged back on defense, face calm like she knew it was hers all along. And here's what made it even sweeter. The Sparks weren't just any opponent. This was the team Sims once called her own. She had worn that jersey, and now she was the one bearing them in their own building. After the game, when reporters asked about her clutch shots, she gave a line that hit just as hard as her buckets. "If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready." That's not just a quote, that's the story of Odyssey Sims. Years of bouncing around the league, hardship contracts being cut, told she wasn't good enough, and yet here she was, delivering the biggest shots of Indiana's season. For Fever fans, it was the perfect underdog story. A reminder that even when the stars are missing, somebody can rise from the shadows.
We have a deep team that a lot of players on our team could be playing and they're not. And that's a tribute to our depth, certainly, but also sometimes everybody wants to play, right? And I think the selfless nature of this group just can't be overstated. And that's why we're able to be in positions like this that we're able to be in.
But Sims wasn't alone out there, because while she was closing the deal offensively, the anchor of Indiana's identity was busy putting on one of the best two-way performances of her entire career. While Odyssey Sims was torching the Sparks with clutch shots, Indiana's foundation, the player who has defined their identity since day one, was making sure this game didn't slip away. Aaliyah Boston didn't just play well, she dominated. Her stat line was the kind that makes you double-check the box score: 22 points powering the offense, 11 rebounds, muscling through one of the WNBA's toughest front courts, and a career-high 6 steals, the kind of defensive stat you rarely see from a big. Add 4 assists, and suddenly she was everywhere in every possession on both ends. This wasn't just scoring in the post, it was blocking shots, deflecting passes, diving into gaps, and keeping Indiana alive on the glass. Every time the Sparks threatened to take control, Boston forced her way back into the frame, and then came the defining moment: final seconds.
But tonight you guys showed resilience, coming back and just having that great floater for the win. Can you guys just talk about the camaraderie, everything that's happened with the team, the injuries, and just how you guys have been able to coalesce as one cohesive unit despite all of everything that's happened?
Yeah, honestly, I think from the start of our season, we've talked about a season's not going to be perfect, and if something happens, next woman up. And I feel like that's really been the story of our season, with everything that's happened, people we've added, no matter how late in the season.
Los Angeles desperate for one last chance. The ball is thrown up, chaos everywhere, and out of the sky, Boston ripped it clean. No scramble, no mistake, just pure strength and timing. That single play slammed the door shut. Game over. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't a highlight reel dunk or a logo 3. It was something better, the calm, forceful presence of a superstar who knows exactly how to win.
I'm really proud of you guys. That was an ugly, hard-fought win. Hard-fought win. And listen, we know that we didn't play our best basketball, and in those moments where we needed a stop, or we needed a big bucket, that you don't teach. Yeah. And y'all got it. And y'all got it. So again, marrying our energy effort with our execution. Okay, that's our journey. But this is a hard win right here. I'm proud of you guys. Great job. Together, 3, 1, 2, 3. Together.
But what made the night unforgettable wasn't just the numbers, it was how Boston carried herself. With Clark, Cunningham, and others missing, this was her team to lead. She wasn't screaming or pounding her chest, she was steady, poised, and unshakable. Afterward, when the cameras caught her, you could see it. The weight of the win on her shoulders, the pride of knowing she had backed up every word she said. Next woman up wasn't just a motto, it was the blueprint she had just proven on the biggest stage of the Fever season, and fans felt it. Clips of her steals, her rebounds, her post moves spread across social media within minutes. One fan wrote, "Boston isn't just the future of this team, she is the team." Another simply said, "This is the night Aaliyah Boston arrived." And honestly, they're right. Because this wasn't just one superstar carrying the load, it was Boston showing that her leadership stretches beyond her stats. Her presence gave every Fever player the confidence to keep swinging, no matter the score, no matter the bruises. But the story didn't end with her performance, because the real turning point of the night came when she spoke afterward and explained exactly what had fueled this win. When the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard told one story. But when Aaliyah Boston stepped in front of the microphones, she gave us the one that really mattered. Reporters asked about the injuries, about the missing players, about how Indiana could possibly stay afloat with so much talent sitting in street clothes. And Boston's answer was simple: next woman up. On the surface, it sounds like a cliche, a line you'd hear from any team trying to hold things together. But if you had just watched that game, you knew it was something else entirely. Because Boston hadn't just said it, she had embodied it. She carried a massive scoring load while still trusting her teammates in the biggest moments. She dominated defensively while giving credit to everyone else. She lived those 3 words in real time. And she wasn't the only one. Look at Lexi Hull, 2 black eyes, no excuses, diving after loose balls like nothing could slow her down. Look at Odyssey Sims, counted out by the league, yet delivering the dagger in the building of her former team. Look at Ariel Powers, sparking the bench with energy every time she checked in. Each of them proved the same thing Boston was saying. It doesn't matter who's missing, the next woman is ready. That's culture, that's identity. And here's why that matters. In sports, culture outlasts talent. Injuries come, stars go down, momentum swings. But if the belief runs deep enough, the team can survive anything. And what Boston gave Indiana in that post-game moment wasn't just a rallying cry for the night. It was a blueprint for the rest of their season. Fans felt it too. Fever Nation lit up online. This team is different. They don't quit. Boston's leadership is the glue. You didn't need to be in the locker room to understand it. You could feel it through the screen. But as powerful as that message was, there was still one shadow hanging over the Fever. The one name everyone kept whispering. The one player whose return could flip the season upside down. Because as inspiring as Boston's words were, the question still lingered. What happens when Caitlin Clark comes back? For all the grit, all the toughness, all the heroic moments in Los Angeles, there was still one name hanging over everything: Caitlin Clark. The Fever's biggest star, the rookie who had turned every game into must-watch TV, the player who could stretch defenses from 30 feet, find teammates with impossible passes, and change the energy of an entire arena just by stepping onto the court, and she wasn't even out there. Clark has been sidelined with that groin injury for weeks, missing 17 straight games. At first, it felt like a death blow to Indiana's playoff hopes. But now, for the first time in what felt like forever, there was hope. Because before the Sparks game, Clark was back in practice gear, shooting, running through sets, warming up with the team. Not full game action yet, but moving, smiling, testing that injury under the watchful eyes of the coaching staff. It wasn't just the Fever who noticed. Every clip of her warming up spread online instantly. Fans flooding comment sections with messages like, "She looks ready. Please let her play." Another tweet racked up thousands of likes. If Clark comes back, nobody wants to see Indiana in the playoffs. And that's the thing. The Fever proved in Los Angeles that they could survive without her. They proved they had depth, culture, and fight. But add Clark back into the mix, that changes everything. Remember, before the injury, she was averaging 19 points and 8 assists per game. That's not just scoring. That's pace, that's vision, that's Boston getting easier buckets, Mitchell finding cleaner looks, shooters suddenly being open instead of covered. Clark's gravity doesn't show up fully in the box score, but defenses feel it every possession. The Fever without Clark are gritty survivors. The Fever with Clark? Suddenly they're more than a playoff team, they're a threat. And now, with just days left in the regular season and the standings hanging by a thread, her return isn't just a storyline, it's the pivot point for the entire league. Because if Caitlin Clark steps back on that floor, the WNBA won't just be watching, it'll be bracing for impact. When the Fever walked into Los Angeles, they looked fragile, 4 guards missing, losers of 4 of their last 5. A team on the brink of letting the season slip away. But when they walked out, they were something else entirely. They had shown us a new version of themselves, one where Lexi Hull's bruised face became the symbol of toughness, where Odyssey Sims turned back the clock and buried her former team with the game-winning floater, where Aaliyah Boston not only dominated on both ends, but also delivered the words that now define this season: next woman up. And that's why this game mattered. It wasn't just about stealing a win against the Sparks, it was about proving that this team has an identity bigger than any single star. that even when the odds are stacked, they don't fold. But here's what makes it even more powerful. This wasn't their full strength. Caitlin Clark, the name everyone in the league circles, the player who transforms every possession, wasn't even on the floor, and yet the Fever still found a way. So now the question hanging over the WNBA isn't whether Indiana can survive, it's what happens when Clark comes back. Because if this group can battle like this without her, imagine what they'll be when she returns. Suddenly, the Fever don't just look like playoff hopefuls, they look like the kind of team that could crash the party and shock everyone. For Fever fans, this win was more than just one night in August. It was a promise, a glimpse of what's possible, proof that resilience, toughness, and culture can carry you through the darkest stretches of a season. So if you believe in this team, if you believe that the Fever are just getting started, drop a Go Fever in the comments right now. Let's show Aaliyah Boston, Odyssey Sims, Lexi Hull, Caitlin Clark, and the whole squad that the fans are riding with them every step of the way. Because tonight wasn't just about surviving, it was about setting the stage for something bigger, and with the playoffs around the corner and the league's brightest star inching closer to a return, the Fever's story is far from finished. This is only the beginning.